started up here this evening. When we got together to plan this conference, in our very second meeting together, we were trying to brainstorm what the theme of this year. Sorry. We're brainstorming what the theme of this year's conference should be. We're going, over the past conferences in the past 10 years and just looking at like the trends that they've been following and what it meant for what each team meant and the trends that happened. And we were brainstorming and different things were coming up, and all of these things. And I was just there. I remember that day I was having that meeting. I was in the kitchen trying to make some food. And then it was Iyano Oluwa who mentioned, we're brainstorming, and then she said, Angela, Ayatutu sounds good. Is that not where you're from? Is that not like a phrase from your tribe? And I said, yes, that's actually a phrase from my tribe. And then everyone was like, oh, what does Ayatutu mean? And then I started to explain. And then I was not getting, the full grasp. I was standing with someone else. He's also from my tribe, and I was like, oh yeah, just explain to me in very simple terms what Ayatutu actually means. And then he said, you know what Ayatutu is? It's a call to action. It's a call to solidarity. It's a call to unity. It's the call to, when, I don't know how to explain that, but we have a whole speaker to explain that tonight. But I just want to, it's such a great honor to be in Cambridge at this time and to also be part of the amazing people who put this together in the year where the team actually reflects home for me, where the team is from where I come from, my tribe, what I speak. It's really amazing. So before I introduce the speaker for the night, I am going to introduce us to the actual call of Ayatutu. So in the Thief tribe, when a thief man wants to call to attention his kinsmen to a common cause, it could be for action, it could be for solidarity, it could be for calling of attention. He echoes, Ayatutu kau no. And the thief man, when he hears that, he responds, Kasi. And so I'm going to be teaching us how to make that call tonight because it's going to be our call throughout this conference. So please, when I say Ayatutu kau no, your response is Kasi. Are we ready?
Yes.
Ayatutu kau no.
Kasi.
Ayatutu kau no.
Kasi.
Ayatutu kau no.
Kasi.
Oh, that feels really good. And so, I'm going to be introducing the speaker of the night. I'm wearing the colors of the thief man, which is this. It's called the Angame. And so I'm very, very proud. I'm very proud. So anyway, I'm going to be introducing Dr. Koho. So I'm going to read out who Dr. Koho is and why we have him speaking to us today about the conference team. And if you are at school in Cambridge in this year, you know how much important this team is. So, Professor Koho Yonel Shedrack gained both his master's and PhD at Cardiff Metropolitan University. His main research interest revolves around resilience, personal growth initiatives, and employee productivity in the workplace. He teaches MBA courses on entrepreneurship and innovation, leadership and culture, and strategic management at the University of Bolton's London campus, that's in Regent College, London. Professor Yonem has published articles in peer-reviewed journals and has been a regular keynote speaker and chair at many international research and practitioner conferences, including the British Academy of Management's conference. His most recent book, A Social Science Student's Guide to Surviving Your PhD, guys. A Social Science Student's Guide to Surviving Your PhD was published by Open University Press. Please get that book. Professor Yonem is a John Maxwell Leadership Certified Speaker, trainer, and coach, and has extensive experience in organizing executive education programs for the top executives and senior managers interested in career development. He is a member of the British Academy of Management and a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants. Professor Yonem is the immediate past president of the Nzo Team of United Kingdom. Oh. So what that means is the Association of the Thief People in the United Kingdom. He is the immediate past president. And he enjoys promoting and enhancing the socio-economic and cultural development of the Tiv people in the United Kingdom, and supporting similar advancements in Tiv land in Nigeria. He founded 2 non-governmental organizations in Nigeria, namely the Menroy Rural Priority Foundation and Nzeheme Utiv Foundation. Oh God, I wish you guys understood what that meant. To create a world where the less privileged in rural communities can also thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Shedrack.
Thank you very much, Angela. So I'm just going to still yell the Ayatu Tukaona, and I'll hear your response again. Ayatu Tukaona! Ayatu Tukaona! One more time. Ayatu Tukaona! Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for yourself. I really feel delighted being here in Cambridge for the first time.
Woo!
Yes. So thank you very much for inviting me. There's a concept, you know, the Tiv people are very hospitable, and what your team here has done depicts what the Tiv culture is all about. Now, before I go on to talk about the conference theme, Ayatu Tukaona, I would also like to tell you a little bit about our history, we, the Tiv people. So the Tiv people, as you can see, we come from Middle Belt, part of Nigeria. We are in Benue, we are in Taraba, we are in Nasarawa, we are in Plateau State. We are also in other countries, in Cameroon, in Congo. In fact, we are all over the world. Yes. And one thing that is unique about the Tiv man is we are hospitable. We are brave and we are warriors.
Yes. Yes.
Another thing that makes us distinctive is our traditional attire, the black and white that looks like the zebra, yeah? The colors, the stripes. And again, our dance, swangy. You know how to dance swangy? Yes. So, I really appreciate the theme, Ayatu Tukaona, celebrating a decade of interconnectedness and growth. And there's no better time to speak about what is happening than now. So the first thing I would like to say is, when we shout Ayatu Tukaona, how did we come about it? And I'll tell you about our people. We are predominantly farmers, and so we also like very hot food. And in Tiv man, like I said, we are very hospitable. So we normally want to eat outside. So if you go to a regular Tiv man's house, they have thatch houses. We call it ate. And so we eat outside. The rationale behind it is that if people are coming, we want to invite them to join us. So the Tiv man likes to eat very hot food. When I say hot, very hot, sizzling hot. The type that you bring down from the fire and you start eating. And sometimes the Tiv man will invite his children to sit around and then we'll be eating together. Now, the child may not be able to dip a hand in the bowl because it will be too hot. So the father will cut it and put in the son's hand or daughter's hand so that they can eat from there. If it's too hot, sometimes they drop it. If they invited a stranger to join them, the stranger cannot eat because it will be too hot. They usually wait for it to cool down. Now, that's the origin. So now when we say Aya Tutu, Aya means to eat in English. Tutu comes from something that emits heat, something that emits steam, something that is sizzling hot, something that is spicy. So when you combine Aya Tutu, it means people who eat hot food. That's where it came from. And so they refer to us as Aya Tutu, the people who eat hot food. So when we shout Aya Tutu Kaona, they are saying, who are the people who eat hot food? And then they will respond, just say, and then with this, we are the ones. So you might want to ask, how does that then translate to unity, call to action, oneness? And I'll explain. Because I said we are very hospitable, sometimes strangers, let me call them the herders, when they come, because we have very fertile land, they come to graze, and sometimes they will come and they will abduct a Tiv man's wife or daughter and go away with it. So the man whose daughter or wife has been adopted will go out to the community leader and say, this is what has happened. And then the community leader, because that time we didn't have the regular means of communication like social media, TV, radio. So they used to use the trumpet. And in the absence of the trumpet, they use the ayatutu kaono. And then the people know that they are calling for an emergency meeting. And when they shout that, the other people who have heard will also shout it for nearby neighboring communities to hear. And they usually know the meeting point. And then they will converge. And then they'll say, okay, this is what has happened. And then they'll begin to trace the tracks of where the headers have gone. And then they'll go there. And when they get to that place, the headers who have taken over our wives and daughters will be celebrating, whining and dining. And then the leader will then scream, Ayatutu no. They will say, Kase, meaning it's time to strike. And then they will go on, strike, conquer, and reclaim all that has been stolen from them. And so that's where the concept of Ayatutu came from. So now Ayatutu means a call to action. Ayatutu means a call to join hands to do something. Ayatutu means brotherhood. Ayatutu means one for all for one. Ayatutu means thief's interest first. It happened that if a thief man was in danger, it means all thief men were in danger and would all go to secure that person or save that person. But when I was invited to come here, I said, okay, there have been many things that have been happening in Benue State, my home state. And I asked traditional rulers, I asked thief scholars, I said, do we still have the spirit of Ayatutu? And they said no. They say we have it at heart. We have it in principle, but in practice, no. And the reason is not far-fetched from our culture being eroded, leadership failure, corruption, greed, and a thief man that was once a warrior, now we are slaves in our own land. Our lands have been taken. We have our farmers and their families living in IDP camps. Now, I want to say something. The reason why this has happened is because we've stopped the Ayatutu spirit. We've now been doing it's me, it's them, it's I. There is no more we or us. And I would like to use a quote from Mamie Bradley Till. I don't know if any of you have seen the movie Till. Now, her son was killed in Mississippi in 1955, September 18th. And then when the racist judges were deciding the case, they decided against her, so they didn't give her justice. And when she was addressing the rally at NACP rally in Chicago, she said, and I quote, said, 2 months ago, I had a nice apartment in Chicago. I had a job. I had a son. When something happened to Negroes in the South, I said, that's their business, not mine. Now I know how wrong I was. The mother of my son has taught me and has shown me that whatever happens to us anywhere in any part of the world had better be our business. And I'm saying this because a lot of us now have decided to do, if it's not me, it doesn't concern me. And I appreciate the university for organizing this conference, especially looking at the conference theme and looking at you celebrating people who have been unknown, the people who came here before us, the black people who were here, who have paved the way for you, like it said in the concept note, that they were here so that you could run, and now you are here so that our children could soar. So I want to appeal to you, and I like the theme, which focuses on education, community, and development. I think these are the essential ingredients that will help us to support our interdependence. So once again, I want you to learn lessons from the thief Ayatutu Kaono spirit. When we were saying Ayatutu Kaono, we had one word, we had one fight, we had one people. But now we have allowed it to wane down. So as you are working on your theme, let's come back and reunite. I read in the theme, the previous conferences, one of the themes was take back control. So for me, it's a call to action again, for the team people to stand up again and take back control. So thank you very much for inviting me. It's a wonderful experience, and I look forward to listening to every other person later on. Thank you. Wow, that was very enlightening. Thank you. And now that you've said this,
Thank you.
so now that you've said this, I remembered